أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. I welcome you all in our today's online session. Hope you all are fine and having good health. We start today's session with the verses of Holy Quran. So in previous session, we was discussed about the concept of cost and how much cost emphasized in the concept. So cost related aspect, which are fixed costs, variable cost, direct cost, indirect cost, in which overhead, burden, recurring cost, non-recurring cost are involved. Further, average cost, average variable cost, total cost, average total cost, life cycle cost, marginal incremental cost, sunk cost, opportunity cost, investment capital cost, and operational and maintenance cost, disposal cost are involved in the kind of concept of cost. So, the detail of the relevant related concept of cost are which are need to be discussed in the slide: fixed, variable, and incremental cost. In engineering economic analysis, variety of costs are considered. These costs different in their frequency of occurrence, relative magnitude, and degree of impact on the study. So, the fixed costs are those costs which are unaffected by changes in activity level over a feasible range of operations for the capacity or capability available. Examples of fixed cost are insurance. So it's a fixed cost which most of the people are provide their part of income and invest. You can say the term invest in insurance aspect in every month, and most of the people are in half yearly, and some of the people are provide their income or investment, you can say, in yearly basis. And in taxes on facilities, general management and administrative salaries, these are also the fixed cost examples. License fees, you always paid the kind of fees, and the kind of licenses are like PEC, renewal licensing, and council membership licensing, and driving license, and all the kind of fees related to the licenses have to be paid, and interest cost on borrowed capital. As cost can be changed anytime, but fixed costs tend to remain constant over a specific range of operation conditions. So these are the related aspect of cost, which are fixed costs. Further, another aspect of cost is variable costs are those associated with an operation that vary in total with the frequent with the quantity of output or other measure of activity level. For example, the cost of material and labor are used in a product or service are variable because material can be expensive. It relate with the market value and the demand of the material. It can also depend the kind of thing. The cost of labor can also be vary because uh, there are the work is related depend on the quantity of labor. If most of the people of labor can fulfill a work by a less labor, then work can be done on short cost. But if your work is in heavy duty and you need amount of people and people in large quantity, then you invest the cost and you bear the cost and the higher incremental value. So particularly these kind of costs are in variable because it relate and depend on the work and also relate on the market value. An incremental cost or incremental revenue is the additional cost or revenue that results from increasing the output of a system by one or more units. For example, incremental cost of producing a barrel of oil. Barrel of oil is an example of incremental cost because in international market, the crude oil and furnace oil values can also be increased with the rate of its demand, shortage, and as well the market value overrate the value of the uh, barrel per oil of things. And incremental cost of the state of the educating a student is also the incremental cost because in uh, as we get the example of a BE degree in 2010, it would be 4 lakh or 4.2 of lakhs. But now these days, the cost of this value would be 5 to 5.8 of lakhs, all the kind of expenses including. So education isn't also a challenging aspect that always incremental way. It's not the monopoly, it's a right of a university and it is also right on their perspectives as per the parliamentary laws. And because these are the approved laws by which universities increase their fees as per the market value as per the resources. Further, as these examples indicate, the incremental cost or revenue is often quite difficult to determine in practice as well. So these are the three concepts of fixed, variable, and incremental cost which are used in our daily routine or most of the practical scenarios of the field as well. So we further continue this thing. Okay, after the short break, we further continue the session. Fixed variable incremental cost. After onwards, we further emphasize on the variable cost are those associated with an operation that vary in total with the quantity of output or other measures of activity level. For example, the cost of material, labor, product, uh, and services are variable. Incremental cost we already have been discussed. So we further continue the session with direct, indirect, and standard cost. So direct costs are costs that can be measured and allocated to a specific output or work activity. So that particular cost is we call direct cost. The labor and material cost directly associate with product, service, or construction. Because to fulfill a project, product should be required with services by the labor and construction activities in which the labor are involved are direct cost. For example, wood required to make cricket bat would be a direct cost. So cricket is a project in which a cricket bat required. So bat of making and all the kind of operation cost involved in a direct cost. Indirect cost, also known as overhead cost or burden, are costs that are difficult to attribute or allocate to a CISPR press conference the 27th of August 2021 specific output or work activity. Normally, they are costs allocated through a selected formula, such as proportional to direct labor hours, direct labor dollars, or direct materials dollars to the outputs or work activities. For example, the cost of common tools and equipment maintenance in a plant are treated as indirect costs. So in the notable thing is that the total overhead costs are associated with a certain level of production. So further we moving towards after the direct and indirect cost, what is the concept of standard cost? Are planned cost per unit of output that are established in advance of actual production or service delivery. They are developed from anticipated direct labor hours, materials, and overhead categories. Standard cost play an important role in cost control and other management functions. So these are the essential aspect of the direct cost. Okay, students, further we moving towards the next aspect and concept of recurring cost and non-recurring cost. After the standard cost, repetitive and occur when a firm produces similar good and services on a continuing basis, and that continuing basis throughout the year, every year, and mean in half yearly period of time, that particular cost, a repetitive cost which continuously repeat, are called the recurring cost. And the insurance involvement cost, saving plans, and all the kind of these aspects are the recurring cost. Non-recurring costs are non-repetitive cost, occurred usually one time within a year of execution and not planned to happen again. So non-recurring cost, you invest a kind of 20 lakhs or 40 lakhs of rupees in one-time investment with the banking policy. So it's a one-time investment cost that would be non-recurring cost, and it would not be repetitive cost, which you not be paid or invest in every year. One-time investment is the non-recurring cost, which is not repetitive in every year and every period of time. Further, a sunk cost is one that has occurred in the past and has no relevance to estimates of future cost and revenues related to an alternative course of action. Thus, a sunk cost is common to all alternatives, is not part of the future perspective, and it is represented by the cash flows. Cash flows is a study in which how much cash is in and out from a particular directory or source of revenue or a person. That study tell us the flow of the cash which is outgoing and incoming in a particular account of a person, and can be disaggregated in an engineering economic analysis. So cash flow and other kind of these analysis is essential and vital key role which provide the analysis for engineering economics perspective as well. Now further moving towards an opportunity cost. It's a common cost involved in most of the salaries and most of the incomes as well. Is incurred because of use of limited resources, such that the opportunity to use those resources to mandatory advantages, monetary advantage in an alternative use is foregone. Thus, it is the cost of the best rejected. Example, the foregone opportunity, and is often hidden or implied. So the particular cost involved in all the kind of these aspects are the opportunity cost. Okay, after opportunity cost, we are further moving towards the aspect of salvage value. Disposal cost includes those non-recurring costs of shutting down the operation and the retirement and disposal of assets at the end of life cycle. Normally costs associated with personal material transportation and one-time special activities can be expected as we call a salvage value disposal cost as well. These are the further concepts. Now moving towards the aspect of operation and maintenance cost, which are a vital key role in the cost concepts. Includes many of the recurring annual expense items associated with the operation phase of the life cycle, the direct and indirect costs of operation associated with the five primary resources areas, which are people, machine, material, energy, and the information. These are the cost involving in operation, maintenance cost in people, machines, materials, energy, and information. So these are the aspect which is related with the operation and maintenance cost and further the concept of cost. Now, investment cost is the capital required for most of the activities in the acquisition phase. In simple cases such as acquiring specific equipment and investment, cost may be incurred as a single expenditure. So it is be called an investment cost. One on a large complex construction project, however, a series of expenditures over an extended period could be incurred. This cost is also called the capital investment cost. So it's a surplus value of investment that we call a capital investment.